Dana Brown, the GM of the Houston Astros, who clearly are toward the end of this dynasty that may be the best dynasty I've been around for in Major League Baseball history, of my history with Major League Baseball. They seem to make it to the LCS World Series, win a bunch of World Series. Dana Brown comes in as GM, comes in a very strange hiring process where we know that Jim Crane is actually the one who wants control, has control, is more than just a little bit involved. The Astros have been struggling mightily. They are 12-23. It's been 35 games. It is now, given your math, the season is 20% over, and the Astros find themselves in last place. And the question asked of Dana Brown is, where are we? How do we feel about the season? What do we think about being a buyer or a seller? Of course, it's not too early to think about it because of the Arias trade with the Marlins, that now local media and fans and bloggers, etc., are wondering whether their teams are going to be adding or subtracting. And a team in last place with a record like what the Astros have, in theory, you're getting ready to sell, Mortimer. But instead, Dana Brown came out with what I think is the funniest statement we've had in the baseball season so far. And by funny, I mean the Joe Pesci type of funny. Like, I'm amused by his statement. He was asked whether they could be sellers, which is a very reasonable question. And he said, no, I can't envision that. Funny. Of course, you can envision that. That's your job, to envision everything. But no, I can't envision that. This ball club is too good. We have a really good rotation, a really good bullpen. Our bats are off to a slow start. I can't predict any scenario where we'll become sellers. The team is too good. Let's break it down, Coca. Let's go one at a time, very slowly and methodically. 1, I can't envision that. I'd like to fire you. 2, we have a really good rotation. Do you know that their starting rotation has an ERA that is 14th ranked? Not bad out of 30 teams. Nope. 14th, second to last. I'm only giving you American League because that's how we look at it as a executive front office. We don't look at the major league where we are in the major league rankings. We look within our league. 14th in starting ERA. News alert, that's bad. Really bad. But he said they have a really good rotation. I guess what he meant is, I have a really good bullpen. The bullpen ERA is 12th. Hader, Presley, disasters. Bringing in Hader, great free agent signing, except I told you it wasn't. It's not that I don't like Josh Hader. It's that when you've got a performing closer, if you want to bring in reinforcements, you do it at the deadline. If you want to bring in another closer, you bring in Urbina in to add to a looper, 03 alert. You do it because then you can't have enough back into the bullpen because by the end of the season, your bullpen is thrashed. They're exhausted. Their arms are about to fall off. And you bolster your bullpen then. But to sign a free agent like Hader and then to tell Presley, hey, you're moving to the 8th before the season starts, it turns into a problem that then manifests itself on the field, which this clearly has. Sorry for that grammar mistake. Our bats are off to a slow start. Let's give you some stats. American League, where do you think they are in average? The Astros? First, they have the highest team average in the American League. How about OPS? 4th. Home runs? 4th. They're even 8th in runs scored. So he mentioned Bregman's name. He mentioned Abreu's name. Not relevant. Again, a real GM who actually, and I don't want to call Dana Brown a real GM because he doesn't have the power of a GM, but I digress. A front office, even an involved Jerry Jones-like owner, you are not going to have performing pieces up and down your lineup. You look at what your team is doing as a whole on the offensive side. Yes, Abreu is down in West Palm Beach. Joe Espada, the new manager of the Houston Astros after Dusty Baker retired. I'm very happy for Joe. I know him well. He worked with me. I love that he has a chance to manage. He's obviously, his team has struggled, no doubt. Meeting the media every day, it's hard to go from a managerial candidate and one of the top managerial candidates, a perennial bridesmaid who finally gets to take the chuppah, and then all of a sudden you realize, whoa, there's no one above me to take any heat. I've got to talk to the media. He said that Abreu is doing very well in West Palm Beach. Thank God. Jose Abreu, that free agent signing, he's fallen off a cliff. They sent him down. Remember, I told you they agreed to option him, and he agreed to be optioned because you have to agree to be optioned when you're a player who's been around as long as Abreu has. And you don't send him to AAA or AA. You go to spring training, and then you play in A games because all these teams the major league teams have minor league teams at their spring training facility. So he's down in West Palm Beach, and Espada said he's doing very well in West Palm Beach. Well, thank God for that. You'd hate to send your big league free agent, your starting first baseman, to single A in Palm Beach and have him do crappy. I wouldn't even have our managers point out how well a player is doing. That's like when a pitcher goes down on rehab, or an Alek Manoah type when you pretend there's an injury and you send him down for lack of performance, and they shove it up the keister of a lineup in single A. It's not like you say, oh my God, he figured it out. Everything's great. They had Justin Verlander come back last night against the Yankees as a way to try to salvage their starting rotation, coming back from injury, being paid for mostly by the Metropolitans, and he got rocked by the Yankees. He's had a terrible first 2 starts to the season, or 3 starts or 4 starts. He's got 22 innings in, and he is just not pitching well. And he was supposed to then take over because of the injuries to Urquidy, the injuries to Javier. It doesn't matter if you know their rotation. Doesn't matter anything except just know this. All signs point to a problem for the Astros, and I still think that they will turn it around because I do think that they're too good a team. I agree that I would not be a seller right now. Go back and think about this team the way we talk about when you evaluate your team at spring training. You evaluate them off-season, spring training, then during the season, and you're trying to figure out, were you right or were you wrong about your evaluation? I'm not willing to say I was wrong about the Astros evaluation. I'm not willing to say they're not going to win the division, but I'm getting darn tootin' close. Smart enough not to have chosen them to win the World Series. But that said, the Astros clearly have a problem, and it's not like they're going to get tremendous reinforcements. Their farm system is mediocre, which is not a huge deal for good teams. That's going to happen when you've had a dynasty at the big league level. You don't get good picks. You don't really. They had Tucker Alvarez. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. People are going to talk about farm systems and how they don't have many players in the top 100. They probably have a player or two, and that's it. What's my conclusion about Dana Brown and the Astros? It's the following. The best thing he should have said when meeting the media, if he wants to do any sort of appearance, if he wants to talk about the slow start, is just say this. We still believe in our club the way we believed in them when the season started. There is no question our record does not reflect where we thought we'd be 20% into the season, 35 games in. This club has earned the opportunity to get every benefit of my doubt before making a decision about what we're going to do when the deadline comes. That's it. Leave it at that.